Estate and Mortgage Show, your go-to spot for everything home buying, selling, and financing on News Talk 580 CFRA.
Welcome to the show, everybody. Paul got his coughs out before the mics turned on. The timing was perfect as usual.
You know, I'm really, really excited for this show, actually, because I know it's a very, very important show.
It is.
Oh, we've got extra brains in the studio today.
When I pulled up in the parking lot and I saw Frank's son Stefano get out of the car, my first thought was, what did we do wrong? The boss is here.
And so show number 950, by the way.
950.
950th show.
And I think it was about 400 shows ago that Stefano was like a little baby sitting in the studio with us. But,
he was talking about that when we came in. He was sitting in here years ago playing his PlayStation. And,
That's right.
Well, you know what Frank and I are trying to do, right? Like Stefano's in the business with Frank, and my son Hunter's in the business with me now. So Frank and I are looking for a break. We're trying to groom our kids to take over the show so we can get a break here.
Right.
Yeah.
We're going to call them with pina coladas in our hands somewhere and criticize them for something they say on the
You'll be
show.
sending texts from the beach saying, why did you say that?
Yeah. No, all good. All good. He's in the business, so he's learned quite a bit over the last couple of years, and hopefully he'll give me a little break at some point. So he
doesn't want to say anything.
So,
most people don't when they come to the radio show. Like,
for the first time.
I know when I bring my girlfriend Petra, and I'm like, I'm going to talk to you on the radio. So you better not.
Yeah.
Like, no one wants to talk on the radio. It's
even when your sister was visiting a couple of weeks or a month ago, she's like, I'm not saying anything.
Well, and my sister's like, Frank never shuts up too, right?
Where's your buddy Mike Crate right now?
He's probably listening.
Who doesn't shut up?
He's in Vegas going to the game. The Vegas game, is it tomorrow night?
Start texting, Mike.
Yeah. He's probably still listening. No, he's not. No way. At 8 o'clock in the morning, you're up in Vegas. Not a chance.
All right, let's get into it.
Yeah.
So you have a conference this week.
Yeah, I do. One of the lenders is hosting us for a conference heading out this afternoon. And again, really nice. It'll be nice. They bring Sagen, goes along with them. And Sagen's one of the, so that's the one that I'm away at. And then obviously there's the conference here in Ottawa that I know that Paul's going to attend. Unfortunately, you're busy, Greg, but Paul's going to attend. Stefano's going to be there. And it's mortgage agents and real estate agents primarily that are the target audience. Greg Casey, who is the risk manager for Sagen, one of the default insurers, is speaking, and he'll talk about what's going on and what they're seeing as far as, because everybody talks about this renewal cliff and what are people going to be like and are people going to fall behind on their mortgages. He'll have some statistics from across the country. Obviously, some pockets of the country are going to be worse than others. But I suspect that he'll probably talk about Ottawa a lot, and Ottawa's probably not in the same boat as some of the bigger centers like Toronto and Vancouver are when it comes to that. At the same time, we've got Nicole Christie, who's the president of the real estate board. She's having a fireside chat with Melissa Lamb, who's from CTV Morning. So they're going to have a fireside chat of what's going on with the real estate market here in Ottawa and what they foresee happening moving forward. Then we've got a broker panel, including Darren Sador and David Andre from Mortgage Brokers Ottawa, and then as well as Elise Devranes and Laurie Fortier. So all four of them are going to have a little more mortgage broker panel and talk about some of the things that they're seeing, some of the ideas they have. And then Doug Adlam is also there, and he's going to talk about, for him, so he's going to talk about what to do with your business in the real estate and the mortgage side, because as you get older, like myself, how do you get your book of business ready to be able to sell? Because it's not really a sellable thing.
I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to that.
So,
I think they're all going to be great.
They are.
I'm really looking forward to going to that, and it's too bad, Greg, you were coming, but you're just so busy with listings. And so, Frank, when I first get there, where is my VIP seating?
Your VIP seating is going to be you're front and center, Paul.
Okay, good.
I
just want to make sure. I was in the VIP section.
So I told Nicole you're going to be there and probably hassle her. So yeah,
probably.
Yeah, no,
probably.
No, again, it's going to be a great event, great day of learning. If you're a mortgage broker listening or a real estate agent listening, you can go to Simba CMBA Ontario, and you can register there to go to it. It's at the Brook Street Hotel on Wednesday.
You know what's funny, Frank, and you're the exact same way. People ask me, how did you become successful in real estate? And it's doing things like this, like learning and growing,
constantly
learning. And I've been in so many seminars, and I've spent so much money on growth and trying to grow the business and try to learn and educate myself. Much like Frank, And people are like, wow, that's a lot of money. It's a waste of money. I'm like, was it a waste? Like, it's
one thing. I would say you go to these days and listen, I mean, yes, you're giving up 5-6 hours, but if you can come away with one or two things and institute them into your business, and you do that every time you go to one of these seminars, one of these days, you'll see how much better you are for it.
Well, that stacks over time. And
so here's what I do every single conference I go to. I always have 20 ideas of things I'm like, wow, I want to do that. I needle it down to 3 of my top ideas, and I work on those 3 ideas. Once I've implemented those 3, I'll go back and look at the other 17 that I didn't implement and see when it's time to implement
3 more. And
3 more, yeah. But you have to come away from those and implement. If you don't implement, it's just an information session.
But right? At the end of the day, it's all about making the businesses better for the clients,
100%.
Right? Like being educated and knowing how to guide the clients through this really tough market we're in.
And look at how the world is right now with AI and all the technologies and stuff like that. If you're not learning and growing every day,
right,
it passes you by so quick.
Oh no, 100%.
I mean, 2 years ago or whenever it was that AI really became prevalent, it's a different animal than it is right now. Total different animal, right? Like you can almost do anything with AI.
And will be in 2 more years. So the continual learning is critical.
Yep.
So, I have to imagine one of the conversations at the Fireside Chat this week at the conference will be about the government's back to work mandates.
Oh, yeah.
Well, to me, what bothers me most is I don't know if you drive across the city. I know my son, we live in Stittsville, and he goes to the office.
You're looking at the right guy.
I know I'm looking at the right guy yourself, who's on the road all the time. I don't like, if you're going to mandate people going back to the office, can we get our highways open, all lanes, and not close lanes? And they're closing another lane, apparently, from Carling to Bronson for the summer in the next week or so, going eastbound. I mean, it's just crazy. Like, you can't have people go back to work and at the same time shut down highways and LRT not working and transit not working. You really got to consider, and I know that Paul's a big proponent of people working at the office, so am I, but I also believe that a hybrid model is okay in today's day. At our office, we have 3 days in, 2 days at home. We're happy to continue to mandate along because we feel like our employees give us actually more time and better quality time when they're working from home.
Yeah.
Because you don't have that 30, 40 minutes of stress driving into the office and driving home. So all of a sudden you eliminate that from your life. And I think people give back. Good employees will give back to their companies if they're able to have that kind of
if they're in
flexibility.
If they're in a position of being able to see metrics, right? If you know, okay, if you don't do this work, I'll know you don't do this work. I don't care if you're in China. Do that work.
Yeah.
2 things. I saw something on Facebook today. Our mayor, Mark Sutcliffe, basically saying what's happening with this traffic is unacceptable, needs to be fixed now, need to open lanes, need to come up with a different route, need to do something to end this traffic, I saw that and it's great. The other thing about this forcing people back to work, there's a petition right now signed by a couple 100,000 people saying that this is ridiculous, we're not going back to work. So this isn't over. Well,
it's not over because they have open spaces now. Like after we've come out of COVID, and now there's another virus potentially, although it doesn't sound like that one's going to get too far. But all of a sudden, they built all these open air offices where if something like this hits again, like there's no way you can go to the office.
No.
Because now you have no privacy whatsoever. And not to mention, a lot of employees are saying we don't even have enough space. If all of us go in, there's not enough space for all of us. So
there's I'm not going to mention the company, but a friend of mine works for a company, and just before COVID hit, they completely gutted the offices and spent millions and millions of dollars renovating this office for a big company. And then COVID hits, and no one's back to work.
It's empty.
So like I talked to my friend, and I'm like, so I have to go in 3 days, and it's a ghost town. It's an absolute ghost town in there. So.
Yeah. Lender's the same, though. I've been in Toronto where I was at a lender's office a week ago Monday, and they've got the whole floor, and I would say that 15% of it is used. Like 85% of it is just sitting empty right now. So
we're kind of getting off topic here, but my Orleans office is like that. My West End office in Canada is busy. My Orleans office is completely dead. Now, my agents are on the road everywhere, so they're like Greg. They're constantly driving everywhere, listing homes, selling homes, and all that. So I don't expect them to be there. But it's a very, very quiet office in the East End for sure.
So, Paul, with all the folks in COVID that moved out to the country at the time with the work from home, are you finding more calls are coming in about getting back into the city with this mandate?
Yeah, so years and years and years ago, country living was super popular. The large yards, the large properties, keeping up with the Joneses, trying to showcase what you have. And then that changed where everyone wanted small, compact. Millennials wanted just, convenience, small properties, small yards.
Low maintenance.
COVID hit, and people are like, okay, first I can work from home. Mom and dad might be moving in, or the kids might be moving in. So we need a bigger property. It's cheaper in the country. So we saw everyone moving out to the country.
Yeah.
And the bigger properties with the bigger yards became very popular again. Well, now that people are back to work and, maybe mom and dad are somewhere else or the kids are somewhere else, we're seeing an influx of people now getting back into the core. And when I say the core, I mean suburbia, the core, everywhere, but not the outskirts of Ottawa. Saying that, it's still cheaper in the outskirts. So there's always going to be an appetite for the outskirts, and there still is. But we are seeing more people now saying, okay, I got to drive to work every day. I'm spending an extra whatever dollars on gas. It might be cheaper for me to buy something in the city. Yes, I got to spend more money on this property, but think of the gas over the years, the wear and tear on my car, the tires, everything like that. So we're seeing more people now leaving those larger country properties and, moving back into the core for the smaller properties again. Now, after the show, if you have a large property in the country, please don't call me and say it's not popular anymore. It is still very popular, but it's not as popular as when we were in COVID, when people really wanted to get out to the outskirts of the city.
I don't remember in 21 years of doing this job of there being bidding wars on country properties until COVID hit.
Well, but keep in mind, once COVID hit, and even just before COVID, a lot of the major builders are in the outskirts of Ottawa.
Of course,
you look at the arm priors and out east and like Limoges and Embrun, like
Carleton Place,
Kempville.
You have you don't just have like little medium sized builders. You have like the Mintos, the Madamies, the EQ Homes, the Rich. Like you have the big builders who have gone into the outskirts of Ottawa and building these tract homes, making them more affordable. So now people don't have to live in suburbia. They could go live in the outskirts and still get a beautiful new home by a builder.
Have a question, head over to realestateandmortgageshow.com and you can submit it there or give us a call at 521-TALK, 521-8255. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show, everybody.
In the break, actually, Greg, if I just take over here. In the break, we were actually talking about our new podcast that we're starting, which is very exciting. I don't know if we have a date yet, but it's going to be very, very soon. Where all the equipment's being set up in the podcast studio on Tuesday, which is exciting. So it's probably going to be sometime in June for sure that we're going to start the podcast, which will be exciting. I mean, obviously, for people who are listening, we are not leaving this show. This is our bread and butter. We love this. We've done it for almost 20 years. We're keeping this show for sure. But we're just supplementing and adding a podcast to our repertoire.
Yeah, it gives us the opportunity to invite some guests in. And I know we called out before just asking, but if any listeners have any suggestions for guests they'd like to hear on the podcast, head over to realestateandmortgageshow.com. And in the field there, rather than asking a question, you can make your guest suggestion and we'll look at getting them on for sure.
And also, if you go to YouTube, realestateandmortgageshow.com, you can subscribe, and that's where our podcast is going to start. And obviously, it'll be on all the channels, Spotify, Amazon, Apple, and we'll eventually get it on Netflix.
Paul's negotiating with Netflix.
Yes,
so.
we'll get it on Netflix. Don't worry about that.
Let's not talk about that too much, right?
So
but I think it's again, you're right, Greg. We'll be able to bring some guests on, and we'll be able to do it in the middle of the week, where sometimes that's when the Bank of Canada is on a Wednesday. So if we can, instead of waiting till Saturday, we can get some of the nitty bitty on that Wednesday. We'll do a podcast then. If the real estate, if the month ends on a Monday and we get the statistics on the Wednesday, we can do a show and talk about the statistics instead of waiting until Saturday. And there's lots of the economic news generally comes out during the week, so
of course,
so we'll be able to be on top of it a little bit sooner. And again, I mean, I haven't talked to Paul yet, but I think he's going to give away a free listing if you become somebody's going to win a free listing if you become subscribed to our channel. Maybe there might be a mortgage payment.
Paul, would you like a rebuttal on that?
So, this is something we could probably talk about off air, Frank. But speaking of the numbers, like Frank mentioned, when the numbers come out, I'm anxious for the numbers to come out for May too, because I know you've mentioned, Greg, that it's you're busting at the seams in your car. Like
I'm running around like a madman.
Like we're listing tons and tons and tons of homes, and our sales in April. I talk about as a company, but also as the market. Our sales in April, we saw it was really starting to tick and to go, and it was like really booming. And in May, I mean, I feel like it's still very strong, but I thought May was going to pick up a little bit more. I think by the end of the month, our numbers will be very strong for our company. I'm assuming with the board, they'll be, fairly strong too. But I look forward to the numbers coming out and see where we are after, 5 months of the year.
Yeah, it should be interesting. So are you finding clients are getting a little bit better on their pricing and therefore things are selling a little bit better?
They have to, right? Like I had some really interesting conversations this week with sellers. And I literally called them and I said, we got to drop your price, before we even hit the market, $15,000. Like, well, Paul, it's $15,000. How's that going to affect me? I'm like, watch, it will affect you. You have to be priced precision. Like you have to be right on the nose. And we've had a couple sellers who were like, my house is worth, like I was telling them the house is worth about $675. They're like, let's try $750. I'm like, nah, I don't even want your listing. I don't even want your listing because it will not sell. And I've talked about it ad nauseum. There's only 3 things. You got to list with the best representation. 2, your house has to show perfect. And 3, you have to be priced spot on. And I hope people listen to this because there is some sellers who still, let's try it. Those words like nails on a chalkboard, let's try it.
Yeah.
You can't in this market. COVID? Sure. You want to try it? Let's do it. Not in this market. In this market, if you aren't priced perfectly, and like a real estate agent, a very, good educated real estate agent has the data. Like we can show you exactly where it needs to be priced. And if you say, let's try it, keep in mind, a buyer's agent and a buyer have the same data. So they're going to know exactly you're overpriced. So it's not as if we can overprice it and we're hiding the data from the buyer's agent. They have the same access.
They have the access. So it's all data driven right now.
It's all
data. The pricing.
It's all data driven.
You can't bring emotion into it.
You can't. And the best agents interpret the data the best, right? Like
right.
If you can't interpret the data and you go with the seller's, let's try it. One, you're hurting yourself and you're hurting the seller. So sometimes the conversation becomes very, I wouldn't say heated, but becomes very forceful in the way that I say, listen, here's the data. What are you not seeing with this data? Well, I think it should be priced here. Well, let me show you homes that are priced there, what they have. And, I had one this week where it was like, they're like, well, I want to be priced like my neighbor who sold for X. And I said, you mean the neighbor that's 1,000 square foot bigger and has 2 extra bedrooms, has a finished basement and a pool? I said, that's where you want to be. That's where you want to be priced?
That's not the same house. You're not comparing apples to apples at that point.
That was 2 months ago, so I feel like, we'll get lucky. I'm like, guess what? The buyer's agent is looking at the same information I'm looking at. You're not getting lucky.
Yeah.
They're not looking at your house. And 2 things will happen. You'll either get 10 showings in your first 10 days and no offer, which means they're using your house as they're driving around the neighborhood looking at all the other ones.
And all the feedback will be
overpriced. Or you're going to get no showings, which screams a price problem. So if those scenarios happen, you have a price problem. You have to drop your price. And, the good agents won't let you get to that price. Like they'll give you the right price right out of the gate. The let's try it, get that out of your vocabulary. It's not happening.
Right. Well, again, and as we've talked about many times in the past, I'm sure it depends on what the seller's needs are. That like how quickly do they need to sell?
It all comes down to motivation, motivation and timing. Have you already bought something? Do you have to sell? Or are you just winging it and let's see if we can get a great price for my home? If we do, great, then we'll find something. Those are hard sellers because they don't have the motivation and the timing.
Yeah.
So you have to find out what the motivation and timing is for that seller and price it accordingly. You have to price it accordingly.
Yeah.
So on behalf of Europeans, how much does a second kitchen add to the value of a home?
You know what? It will add value.
I think so.
Now, if it's a small home, I say no.
Right.
If it's a big home, I say yes. Because keep in mind, there's a lot of people who still want mom and dad to move in, or mom and dad want the kids to move in, or maybe they have, a child with a disability that needs their own space.
Right.
So sometimes a second kitchen is not a bad thing, Frank.
My mom and dad, my dad's passed away, but my mom still lives there. 1,400 square foot bungalow with a walkout basement, 2 kitchens, one upstairs, one downstairs.
I was just going to say, I hate to contradict you, Paul, but I shot one for our team about a month ago on Dorchester, I think.
Yeah.
And original owners, it looked classically Italian. It was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful spot. Second kitchen in the basement.
Yep.
And man, that thing sold fast.
Eh?
But it was a small place.
But keep in mind, there's certain areas in the city
yes.
that the duplexes and the accessory units and, mom and dad moving in and renting, trying to make money to rent out is very, very popular. So having a second kitchen, absolutely. Suburbia, not as much.
If you're an adult kid, though, and you're living at home with your parents want you out of their house, I mean, that's kind of a way to keep them out by giving them a kitchen in the basement, put a family room, a bathroom, and a bedroom, and there you go.
Board up the stairs so they can't.
Stay out of my hair, and just go there. But when you got to walk out, I mean, I always said if I ever built a bungalow or wanted a bungalow, I would have a walkout basement because then it doesn't feel like a basement, which is what my mom and dad have.
You want to walk
good. Yeah.
Now, just so you know, Stefano and I talked this week, and I'm helping him find a house. Because he said that mom and dad are aging and was going to move into the house soon. So, we're finding him a nice house with a second kitchen for you, Frank.
In the deep, dark basement, Frank.
Yeah. Oh, we're looking at Petawawa too, by the way.
Oh, great.
Yeah, Petawawa.
Yeah.
Nothing against Petawawa, by the way. I just picked a place far away from us.
By the way, I'm working from home if that happens. Yeah. No. Interest rates are probably one of the reasons, though, that maybe you're seeing a little bit of a slowdown because we were going in the right direction, and then this, what some people call a conflict, which is really a war in Iran. I mean, basically, once that hit, now we've seen oil prices. It's incredible to watch how, the verbiage that happens throughout the week. If something is said where this conflict/war is going to end, we see the bond markets come down, which means fixed rates are likely going to come down, and we see the oil prices come down. But the next day, nope, this is going to go on forever, and all of a sudden we see the reverse. We see the bond market spike, and we see the oil prices spike. So that's how much of an impact it's had on interest rates. So for anybody that thinks that, the banks are doing this, no, this geopolitical issues that we're having, this conflict is fully responsible for what's happening because the economic data would suggest that interest rates should be coming down. But in the meantime, we've got this oil prices spiking, which means inflation is going to be an issue.
Way up.
And therefore, we're seeing interest rates pretty well go up instead of either remain flat or come down on the fixed rate side.
Have a question, head over to realestateandmortgageshow.com. You can submit it there or give us a call at 521-TALK, 521-8255. We'll be right back.